due to low enrollment, including a huge decrease in the international student population. Some of the programs affected are art history, critical race studies, religion, various languages, and women's gender and sexuality studies. Representatives of Miami University claim these acts are not political, but either way, it will affect the majority of the student body.
Faculty members at Miami University have formed a union called the Faculty Alliance of Miami with the hopes of gaining better working conditions. We interviewed FAM union member Dr. Deborah Lyons to gain more insight on the progress the FAM union has made.
An associate professor in the Department of French, Italian, and Classical Studies. My specialty is ancient Greece, and I have been at Miami for almost 20 years. Early on in my time here, it became clear to me that the faculty would benefit from forming a union and that the university itself would benefit, and especially the students, because as we always say, teaching conditions, faculty working conditions are student learning conditions. So about a little more than 8 years ago, we founded a chapter of the American Association of University Professors, the AAUP, and that was not a union, but an advocacy chapter. And we were able to accomplish quite a few important things with the advocacy chapter, but it was clear that until we were unionized and had a contract, there was really a limit to what we could achieve. So we began organizing a few years ago, and this involved talking to as many faculty members as possible. And some of my colleagues talked to, I don't know, at least 100 faculty members, and just got a sense of what their concerns were and how supportive they would be of the union. And when we realized that we had the support, we collected cards and submitted them to the state, it's called SERB, the State Employee Relations Board. And we wanted to include all faculty and librarians in our unit, including tenure track, teaching professors, clinical professors, and visiting professors. And the university instead contested that, and in the end we were only allowed to include the teaching professors and the tenure track tenured professors in our unit. The librarians immediately turned around and organized on their own, so they now have their own unit. And we entered into negotiations at the very beginning of the fall. I have to say that I am kind of disappointed in the way that the university has been handling things. For one thing, although the librarians and faculty have very similar interests, and most of our contract could be identical, they insisted on hiring 2 separate law firms and conducting 2 separate sets of negotiations. So that greatly adds to the expense and the time that it will take to achieve a contract. In general, they have been dragging their feet. They insisted on holding our negotiation meetings at the Voice of America, which is quite far away from where most of us teach, and in general have just not been very helpful. We really believe that we can come to a contract that will be good for the university and good for the faculty. And so it's a disappointment, frankly, to see the university being so, presenting so many obstacles. My own role has been, I was membership director, I guess I still am, membership director of the AAUP chapter, and I am a liaison, which means I go out and twist people's arms to get them to join the union. And I'm on the bargaining council. We are the people who work up the proposals that our negotiating team will take to the table with the administration. I'm so impressed with my colleagues. There's so many really talented and energetic people working on this, and it's been, I would have to say, one of the most fulfilling political activities I've ever taken part in. So, thank you.
Soon we will head over to sports, but first, a quick note on Election Day, which is right around the corner. Voters will cast their votes next Tuesday, November 7th. Changes in Ohio voting laws are in effect for this general election, which can affect out-of-state student voting. I had the opportunity to check in with the co-president of the Women's League of Women Voters in Oxford, Elizabeth Wardell, who explained more on this change.
My name is Elizabeth Wardell. I am the co-president of Voter Services for the League of Women Voters of Oxford. It's really made it much harder to vote. The ID requirements have changed. The requirements for how to get an absentee ballot have changed. They've compressed early voting time. So they've said at the time that it was to combat voter fraud, but there's basically zero voter fraud in Ohio. So it was a solution in search of a problem. So, of course, out-of-state students have a choice. They can vote in their home state, or they can make a decision to vote in Ohio. Obviously, they can't vote in both places. If they want to vote in Ohio now, then there's a couple things they need to keep in mind. They need to have, if they're going to vote in person, they've got to have an Ohio BMV-issued ID or a military ID or a passport. If they don't have one of those and they want to keep their home driver's license, then they need to vote probably via absentee ballot. And so that has become much more challenging now. They have to request an absentee ballot in order to get one. In the past, the Secretary of State would mail you in the mail a letter that said, would you like an absentee ballot? But he's not doing that anymore. Now you have to go to the website for the Secretary of State, print out the form, and send it in and request an absentee ballot. And I have a strong suspicion that many students don't know that that's the case. The League of Women Voters is a nonpartisan organization that was founded in 1920, initially to fight for the vote for women, but now to fight for the vote for all, to make sure that everyone who is qualified to vote has access to the ballot and that democracy remains strong for everyone. Miami students are welcome to join the League of Women Voters, and we actually have a number of Miami students as members, and a couple of them are working with us tomorrow, actually when you're airing this, maybe today, at our Take Action for Democracy event, which is in King Library. But a number of those students have actually worked with other organizations. So there's, I think, Red Hawks Vote. There is a couple of Ohio student action organizations. So there's a number of things that Miami students are doing, and we will advertise them at our event tomorrow.
Thank you, Betta. The Red Hawks women's volleyball team was in action Saturday night against the Ohio Bobcats after having lost their first matchup the day prior, 3-0. The Red Hawks would not have it their way against the Bobcats in the first set, falling 25-17. The second set would be even worse, falling 25-13. The third set would get them back to a 25-17 final score. However, they would lose all 6 sets that were played against Ohio over the weekend. Ellie Hansen led the way for the Red Hawks on Saturday with 7 kills. The volleyball team now sits at 5-18 as they take a road trip to Michigan to take on Eastern and Central Michigan. Now, after having taken the MAC East division lead on the heels of a 6-game winning streak, the Miami Redhawks would come home to host one of the biggest games in the last 20 years of Miami football. Their opponent was the Toledo Rockets, who were in the lead of the MAC West division and who were also on a 6-game winning streak. The Redhawks would muster just 3 points as they did not get off to a strong start, allowing 3 Toledo touchdowns in the first half, falling behind 21-13. But holy Toledo, the Miami offense would get in stride to start the second half, with the defense following suit. Brett Gabbert would lead the team down the field, with Kenny Tracy finishing the job, putting up 7 points. Gabbert would lead the team again down the field. However, he would suffer what would turn out to be a season-ending right leg injury, which would cause Yager Stadium to fall to silence. And just like that, the game took another turn. Avian Smith, who started 9 games last year, would be thrown into action late to finish what Gabbert had begun. The Miami would punch in another touchdown with the help of Rashad Amos. The defense would lock down Toledo in the second half, forcing them to punt the ball 7 times with the help of Matt Salapak. With a minute to go, the Miami Redhawks would fumble the football and Toledo would recover, which would allow Toledo to wrap up a loss for the Redhawks, 21-17. Now, boxing legend Mike Tyson once said that everyone has a plan until they get punched in the mouth. The Redhawks, quite frankly, were punched in the mouth. Question is, how will they respond in a road trip to Athens to take on Ohio? Back to you, Betta and Anna.
Last weekend, Miami University celebrated homecoming. Alumni came back home to watch the parade, attended the football game, and visit some of their favorite college places. There were a series of events, including Paint the Town Red, Red Brick Magic book signing with Terrence Moore, and of course, pregame tailgating. Each year, there are 2 seniors who take home the Love and Honor Cup for demonstrating involvement, achievement, and community service. The 2023 winners are Stephen Lee and Savara Ubdalivida. Congratulations!
The Apple Butter Festival, one of Oxford's festive fall events, occurred several weeks ago. During this festival, people can enjoy kettle corn, funnel cakes, and a variety of other fun food and produce. For just $5 per person, the Apple Butter Festival has autumn crafts and activities everyone can enjoy.
The days of October have flown by for students. Parents' Weekend had all of the members of Tri Delta working hard to raise money for St. Jude's Children's Hospital. With their annual Delta House of Pancakes, or DHOP for short, they raised over $6,000 in one afternoon. Tri Delta has been Miami's #1 donation raiser for the past 9 years, and they are on track to make it to 10.
All right, Redhawks, get ready for a spooktacular Halloween weekend on campus. Friday, October 27th, join Rosa and Ram for the Spooky Time Party, games, trivia, snacks, and drinks. It's a scream. Then, Saturday, October 28th, grab your skates for Miami Halloween Skates at Goggin Ice Center. It's only $7.50 with your Miami ID, including free skate rental. Non-skaters can watch for free, but bundle up.
And don't miss the Zombie Moonlight Skate that night, Dressed to Distress. They're giving out prizes for the best zombie costumes on ice. And here's a chilling riddle for you. If a zombie skates at midnight with no one around, does it still count if they do a triple axel? What do you think, Anna?
A truly chilling question, Betta. Join us for the fun events this weekend and a spooktacular Halloween celebration at Miami University. Stay safe and have a howling good time. Thank you for tuning in to Miami Television and News. I'm Anna.
And I'm Betta. And don't forget to follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Miami MTN.